Hey everybody, welcome to Obsessive Audio. Eric here, and as you can see, got my keyboard controller because we're going to be doing something special today. We're going to be live demoing a new virtual instrument, and let me put this keyboard down so I could show you what we're talking about here. Eplex7 DSP just released, just out, is the Clerheim N1 analog plug-in synthesizer. It's for Windows only, so Mac people, unfortunately, might have to wait on this one. It's on sale now for €29.90 for the first 100 customers, and I don't know if they've sold that many yet, but the price still seems to be up. And what can I say about this? On the surface, it is a traditional monophonic analog subtractive synthesizer, 2 oscillators, filter with 2 modes, 12 and 24 dB, envelope for the filter, envelope for the amplitude, your standard glide and pitch controls, and based on me playing with this for a while, where I could say the difference is definitely in the sound. It's in the analog modeling. And the extreme attention to detail that they've obviously been paying at Eplex7. I became aware of them, I would say last year. They released a vacuum tube plugin. It's also for Windows as well. And I played with that thing and I heard the sounds and I was like, I don't hear that in most of these analog emulations. So whatever it is that they're doing, keep doing it because it's working and the stuff sounds great. As you can see here, they're right into the virtual, right into the circuit analysis and that sort of thing. There's some demos of the different sounds. Third video down, and I recommend that you check this out, is the difference between analog and digital synthesis. And you can see right here, the digital filter is always the same, meaning that it's linear, it's static, it doesn't change, where the analog is always changing, but only by a certain percentage, right? 0.1 to 0.2%. And that is pretty much anything that goes on in an analog synthesizer, whether that's the pitch, the frequency of the waveform, the cutoff frequency of a filter, where the resonance might slightly adjust, the envelopes might, it's called drift, right? So anything, pulse width, that stuff's always changing. I remember sometimes staying for hours working on patches and trying to introduce random LFOs to get the pitch to move a little bit, to get the filter to always be moving a little bit, just to sort of get some more analog vibe out of the tones. And it looks like in this plugin, and from what I'm hearing, they have done all of that for you. So without any further delay, let's take a look at what I'm talking about here. So here's the plugin. And while we're on the topic of the difference between analog and digital waveforms, I have drawn up a very quick comparison for you, an oscilloscope. And let's start with a purely digital waveform. This is generated by Resynth, comes with Reaper. It's a straight up digital, doesn't get any more simple, doesn't get any more digital synthesizer plugin. And I'm going to play that, and you can see that and listen to it right now. So square wave, not particularly exciting, but also not particularly useless either. But as you can see, and I'll play it again, but you'll see that the waveform does not change. It's straight up. You'll see that the volume doesn't vary at all. There doesn't seem to be a lot of crest factor in terms of the difference between the loudest and the quietest part of the waves. I'll play it again. Now let's compare that to what Eplex7 have done. Now listen to the pitch. And also note, volume is fluctuating as well. And that is the difference. That's the type of thing that they've put into this entire synthesizer. The cutoffs, the envelopes, they're all injected with that modulating goodness. And there is a temperature control here, which I believe allows you to dial more or less of that, and then also the noise and the harmonics. I wasn't completely clear on everything that it adjusts, but definitely as you increase it, you get more of that sort of thing. What else can I say about it here? Well, you got your controls. You've got your waveforms. Let's just cycle through the different waves. You got ramps and saws, and let's listen. Triangle. Ooh, hear how it's a bit noisy? Let's increase the noise on that event. Very tasty, very analog. Square wave as you've heard. Let's hear this. And 2 pulse waves. And nice and warm. Probably also worth mentioning is that if you read right here, and let me zoom in on that, the virtual analog circuit apparently works the best at 44.1 kilohertz. I've read what they said about it, and if you do go up to higher sampling rates, it still sounds really good, but might be a little bit of a 1% difference there in terms of the analog emulation. I've tried it at both sampling rates. It was fine. It sounded good at both. I gave it some stress testing as well. I tried to make some really high, dog ear sounds on the highest notes, the highest MIDI notes, and tried to make it alias. And it was able to make it, create a little bit up there, especially with the saturation knob. And by the way, the saturation is beautiful. So you got to check that out. I brought it into DDMF to oversample it internally, I think up to 16 times. And it did get rid of all aliasing, but it also did significantly change the sound of the modeling. And some plugins are going to respond to that better than others. In this case, I'm pretty happy with what it gives me at 44 or 96. But, if you're going for the extreme dog whistle sounds and that's all you care about, maybe you want to introduce some more external oversampling. But why don't we go through some of the patches here and just listen. Here's the default patch that you load up. That's not the default patch. Here's the default patch. I'm just going to cycle through a couple of them. Love it. Hear the punch on that one? But only sometimes. Lots of listen to the low end. Hear how that decays, that low end? That's what I hear from analog stuff sometimes when the filter's just way down there. Again, just a really good job. Why don't we spice things up a bit? We'll add a little bit of delay. Let's go through some of the programs here. Not bad. Let's listen to that filter. Filter's got 2 modes on it, 12 dBs and 24. go to the 12 dB. Get all Van Halen there. That's a nice gurgle. I also want you to check out the saturation, because that's responsible for a lot of the sound here. Without it, I'm going to start bringing the saturation up. I mean, it's got it. You know, what can I say? I mean, if I could have any complaint about the sound at all, maybe it goes out of tune a little bit more than analog. Even certainly some of the analog stuff I got when it comes back from the shop, it might be more stable than that. But given that the synthesizer world, especially the virtual synth world, is loaded with stuff that's like way too stable. I mean, we saw the digital synth there, which was totally static, and most emulations are not that static. They've got a bit of motion, but this thing has got like, wow, right? It really moves around a lot, and I think that's good, because I think that's what they were going for. They wanted to sound just a little bit off, you know, a little bit noisy, and mission accomplished. Anyway, lots of great fat tones to be had from this, and made a little demo song here with it that we could check out. So there we go. What else do I have going on here? Let me try. What do I want to do here? I don't know. Let me go to the screen. I know what I wanted to do. I want to show you something really cool. And this maybe goes beyond the plugin itself, but I just wanted to give you an idea of how these variations in the tone will layer up. And if you are a Reaper user, you probably may or may not be aware, but there is an addition that you can get for Reaper, and it's a MIDI splitter. And the MIDI splitter, you can set it for anywhere from I think it'll go up to 32 notes, but what it'll do is it'll turn your monophonic synth into polyphonic synth. But you have to have, say if you wanted an 8-voice polysynth, you got to have 8 instances of the plugin. And I will show you what I mean right here. Let me reconfigure. So the voices will cycle through. I've got an instance of Eplex on all of it. Every time I hit a note, it'll go over to the next one. So it turns your monophonic synth into a polysynth. And I just out of curiosity, I wanted to see, you know, what would happen if they ever went polyphonic with this thing. And let me tell you, let's get some more volume on there. That's a nice sound. Here we go. So if they ever decide to go polyphonic with this thing, or if you do have Reaper and you want to set it up this way, check this out. Anyway, just a beautiful, beautiful instrument here. Maybe I can try a few more patches. Anyway, enough of that. That was the poly hack there. So what you can expect are the monophonic sounds right out of the box, but if you do want to layer them, or if you do want to set it up as a poly instrument, those are the kind of sounds you can expect. For me, it was like either in mono or poly mode. I thought it was fantastic. I highly recommend it, especially at the price. You really can't go wrong with it. Is there anything about it that I maybe could be better? Yeah, when I was playing with the LFOs, I thought that maybe they could go faster. That would be maybe one thing that you could do. The tuning on it was, they give you a fine tune control, but I don't know if I was actually able to set up like, perfect fourths or fifths on it, or like thirds, parallel thirds and that sort of thing that sometimes you can do on the Mini Moogs. And if there was anything else about it, I really don't have a lot of complaints. It would just be about, added features that maybe they could have. Maybe like a feedback or cross modulation feature might be nice. But overall, it's just the envelopes are snappy. The waveforms sound the business. I forget that I'm playing a digital synth after a while, so that's got to be a good thing. Anyway, so go check it out. The Eplex7 site still says that they're under 100 customers, so you'll probably be able to get that sale price. But anyway, until next time, I will see you later. Hope you enjoyed. Hope this was helpful.